Hi everybody. Compared to some of the druggies I've known, I really don't have much of a needle collection. But I figured I'd run through it and let you see what I've got, because I just recently discovered that I bought counterfeit organs. Okay. Here are leather needles. These are the same size, just front and back. Size 21, 15-1 LL. That's leather left-hand twist, leather right-hand twist. These are 18s. Here is size 16, and for size 12 I went to Schmetz, which is also a good brand. Those are specifically leather needles, but they also work good on any sort of non-fiber material. Plastic, vinyl, anything that's been molded or extruded. They cut through rather than building up pressure until it blows out the backside with kind of an irregular hole. Definitely a good thing to have. So let's push these off to the side and go into the regular needles. Again, we're talking standard 15 by 1s. These things are not particularly expensive. If you buy them by the 10 pack, you're talking a couple of dollars, maybe $3. If you buy them by the 100, you can generally get the price per needle down well below 20 cents. So that's buying from a legitimate supplier who sells a good product. These happen to be authentic organ needles. You can see how the labeling goes. And these off to the side. When I first got my machine, I did not realize that it was a 216G. Going strictly by the needle plate, I had tentatively identified it as a 206, which happens to use a specialized needle, and I ordered a small packet of them, and before they even arrived I got a better grip on what I owned, and I've had no use for them. I don't think I'll ever own a 206. Somewhere down the line somebody will need them and I'll be able to pass them along. Once I realized that my machine used standard size needles, I went down to the local fabric store and I bought some genuine Singer standard size needles, and these are ridiculously overpriced. And I think I paid $1 a piece for these. Not package, a piece. That's unacceptable for a consumable as far as I'm concerned. If you're bringing a vintage sewing machine back into service, using a needle recommended by the manufacturer, sold by the manufacturer, is one way to eliminate a problem. Like I said, these are ridiculously expensive, but if your Singer machine does not function with a Singer needle in it, there is most likely something wrong with the machine. Then we have these. I bought off of eBay from a vendor who shall remain anonymous a variety pack of needles. They were all supposed to be organ needles. If you notice the sizing stamped on these packs, we've got 1070 instead of 7010. We've got 16231, which is why I started investigating this. I recently picked up a commercial singer that uses 16 by 231 needles. These aren't them. One of these is a genuine organ. One of these is a knockoff. That may not be immediately apparent looking at them just lying here under a zoom. The magnification on my microscope is enough that I have noticed the eye, very rounded, very smooth, channel up the needle shaft, again, very smooth, edges rounded. The shaft itself, to either side of the groove, is very smooth, very polished. If we look at the shank, it's stamped, organ and the size. This is a fairly large needle. Here is the flat, and you can see it was ground flat, and obviously from the parallel edges, the shank that it's ground on is consistent in diameter, and the flat itself is really flat. It's ground to a consistent depth. Again, back down the shank, and this side you can see the cutout above the eye where the loop forms when the needle is rising, and it's again very smooth in the hole in the eye, and it may not look totally super polished, but under this much magnification, yeah, it's good. Now we have the counterfeit. Right away you could see that the eye is rougher, there are sharper edges, the groove is rougher. The shaft itself appears to have scratches under the chrome plating. The channel does not seem to be quite as deep. The shank is not stamped with any size information. And if you're looking at the flat on the shank, this appears to have been rolled or stamped rather than ground. It's not very deep. The edges are not completely parallel. Again, back down the shaft, look at those scratches above the cutout on the back, the relieved area, whatever you call that dip. And back in the eye you can see sharp edges and burrs, and this is not good for your thread.